Hey guys, time for the video of the day today. Hey, this is going to be in two parts. This is part one. You'll be getting part two very soon. Hey gang, how you doing? It's time for the video of the day, as usual. A little bit later today. I've had a busy morning. It's about 11:30 in the morning. Not much later. I've been later than this, right? Anyway, I got a few comments from yesterday's video. And I guess the few comments I did get, a lot of you agree with me that, you know, it's hard to judge what somebody else is doing and base how they feel on what they do, especially with something electronic. I had one comment where somebody had said that things tend to get lost in cyberspace, and they do tend to get lost in cyberspace. You know, I've had people that have said, you know, I sent you an email. Did you get it? What do you mean? It's like the regular mail. You remember when we used to send out letters to people and they get lost in the mail? You hear about it every once in a while. You know, they were cleaning out an old post office and found a letter, you know, to Susie Q from Joe somebody, you know, who was in Vietnam, and you know, it was a letter that he sent to her years and years and years ago. You know, she never got it because, you know, they lost it at the post office. You know, fell behind it, you know, whatever. But you know, it's a thing that you really, I know it becomes an issue sometimes when you're worried that somebody is going to be upset with you because of an email. And I've done that before. How many of you have sent out an email and then later on wished you could have went and got that email, brought it back? Or you sent a text message and wished you hadn't? Or left a message on an answering machine and said, I wish I hadn't done that? Or said something in the heat of the moment and ended up regretting it later? I've done that. I've done that many times. I've had things that I've done that have irritated people, and sometimes it's my fault. Okay, sometimes it's not, but sometimes it's just me dropping the ball, and that happens sometimes. What are you gonna do? You know, and all you can do is apologize to the people that you've hurt or that you've upset or whatever, and move on. You know, and that's another thing. When you do get angry, do you tend to stay angry? There's the question for the day today. When you get angry, do you stay angry? I mean, do you let it linger for days and sometimes weeks and months? Or do you get angry and pretty much when you wake up the next morning it's forgotten? Me personally, if I get angry with somebody, I'll get angry with them and then I'll think about the situation, and I try as good as I can, depending on who the person is, to put myself in their shoes. Okay? How would they feel if I was angry at them for what I'm angry at them for? Does that make sense? I know what I'm trying to say, but you just don't get it. I usually tend to forget about things. But it's when I get angry about something and I forget about it and it's over with and the person continually brings it up. Okay, some people would call it throwing it up in my face. That's where my anger can't subside because somebody keeps bringing it up. You know what I mean? I mean, after a while, you forget about it. You know, and I've had arguments with people where we go back, you know, a week later. So, you know, we had an argument last week. What were we arguing about? We don't remember. Arguing is so stupid, I think. Okay? I just think it is. I think it's stupid. Because you can't 9 chances out of 10, you're not going to convince the other person that you're right. Because they think they're right, you think you're right. A lot of times you just got to leave it alone and meet somewhere in the middle. Okay? They think they're right, you think you're right, and you got to meet somewhere in the middle. Okay? Where you could both get along. Okay? Especially people that are married or that are couples. A lot of times I think that's a lot of fallout from couples. Besides the fact that a lot of times when you get involved with somebody in a relationship, a lot of times you don't take the time to build that relationship. You don't take the time to build a foundation that's going to last. You don't take the time to build that foundation in your relationships. Okay, everybody's guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. And I think that's the reason why we have a lot of failed marriages. Because you don't take the time to build that foundation for your relationship. That, and sometimes I think that we don't look at the other person and realize at the time how good they are. And we take them for granted sometimes. Okay? Guys do that a lot. Okay? I don't like to take people for granted. I tend not to take people for granted. But guys do it a lot. We tend to take our women for granted. There was a thing on Facebook that was going around about, you're yelling at your wife and there's some other guy that's more than willing to take her. Basically that's what it was. I don't remember the exact line. But I've been going on here for almost 7 minutes, so it looks like this is going to end up being part 1 of the video of the day. Okay? So what I'm going to do is, this is part 1. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end this one here, and I'll start another one. There are going to be 2 parts to the video of the day today. Okay? But then I just wanted to share those thoughts with you. Those were thoughts on the question of the day yesterday. But the question of the day today, when you get angry, how long does it last? And do you tend to take the person that you're with, whether it's a friend, whether it's a lover, your husband, your wife, do you tend to take them for granted? Give that some thought. Do you take that person for granted? Do you just assume that person's going to be there? Now, for some things, yeah, you should assume that person's going to be there. But what if that person wasn't there anymore? What if they moved on? What if they said, enough is enough? I can't take you taking me for granted anymore. Something for you to think about. This is part 1. Stay tuned for part 2. Don't go away, gang. Remember, part 2 coming up. Go watch part 2. Part 2's got the joke of the day in it. You better watch part 2 because it's important. It's got the movie clip in it. Watch part 2. See you in part 2. Bye.